Alright, today on Cabal Cast, we are in Command & Conquer 3 Tiberum Wars doing a 1 vs 1 video commentary. This game is replay of the week, and it features two players, Shocktapus, which is shock treatment, playing as Vanilla Nod, against PoKeMoM, as also as Vanilla, so it's a Nod versus Nod, Nod Mirror on Pipeline Problems, cryptosing a bunch of numbers, is observing the match. So here we go, it's up north here, I had to check the colors again, this should be PoKeMoM, yep, this is PoKeMoM playing as Vanilla Nod in the north, and in the south is Shocktapus, aka Shock Treatment, is playing as the pink Vanilla Nod. And both these players are going to capture their tip spikes, which is just to the left side or the right side of each other's players. Surprisingly, though, that nobody went for a crane first. Usually everybody goes for a crane to capture the blue tip immediately. I think that's what players each other are doing. They're both building refineries, I think. Nope, this is Shadow Teams for Shock Treatment. So Shadow Teams is going to be good. A good start there for Shock Treatment. We're going to use them to go scout the base of PoKeMoM. PoKeMoM is going to go for two engineers with the two Milton squads. Looks like Shock Treatment is going to go to the north here and capture this expansion point, which will be very, very good for him. He did go for a refinery, and then he sold off the secret shrine once he got that extra expansion, or extra build radius, I should say, for that refinery. And his Shadow Team is going to go to the expansion point here. Looks like he's not going to capture it. He wants to go capture PoKeMoM's Tiberum spike. This is very good. Oh my god, look at this! Look at this! Airfield with 3 carryalls and 3 engineers. This is huge. Oh, and PoKeMoM is going to be bringing in his Venom, and he's going to scout. He's going to see the fact that there's going to be Shadow Teams here, and this is not good. Oh my god, Shock Treatment's been revealed. He's going to lose. He's only going to lose Shadow Teams. His engineer might sneak through if he's lucky, but this whole Shadow Team is going to be taken down. Oh, Shock Treatment has been completely jumped by this Venom, and these carryalls are going to capture the control center and the defensive structures. So this is going to be very good. He also has another set of Shadow Teams that made it through. So he's going to be trying to bomb that power plant, but it didn't get very much damage. So he had 4 of those Shadow Teams, and then one single Venom took it out. Is that Veteran? It's Veteran, so that Venom got Veteran. Although the Venom did miss that Saboteur, so the Tiberum spike is going to be under control of Shock Treatment. Although the tip spike that's under the control of Shock Treatment is going to be taken by PoKeMoM, and PoKeMoM is going to. Both these players are going to topsy-turvy their tip spike. So, what is up with that? Shock Treatment plays down a mine so that if PoKeMoM try to capture it back, it's just going to go. It's going to blow up, and 2 refineries are going to be placed down now by Shock Treatment. Already this game is really cool. It flipped over tip spikes, so PoKeMoM's going to go see if he can recapture that tip spike. And at the same time, PoKeMoM has placed down a mine to combat that tip spike, so it's not a good idea to go capture that tip spike, but I don't think both players know that one went for an engineer and then placed on a mine, so that tip spike's going to lose its value for Shock Treatment, and it's going to do the exact same thing. Both these players do the exact same thing. This is so cool. I can't believe this is happening. But anyway, in all seriousness, though, PoKeMoM is going to give this engineer. He's going to try to capture that, and boom, it goes down. Lots of Tiberum there for PoKeMoM to go capture. One of 2 bikes are going to be coming out now by Shock Treatment, and he's going to go straight to the north area. He already has a contingent of bikes, but there's rocket squads here from PoKeMoM. PoKeMoM's going to push those away. No problems there. So Shock Treatment, he may or may not think there's going to be a mine there, but he's going to see if he can capture it, and then the mine will take it out. So both these players screwed each other over by their tip spikes, which means no more tip spikes for each other's players. But we see double war factory here, and buggies are going to be coming out now by PoKeMoM. PoKeMoM's going to push all the bikes away from Shock Treatment. He also has a bunch of rocket squads here just for defense. Maybe if Shock Treatment had a little bit of buggies mixed in with his bikes, he'd have been fine. He also mined down a good chunk, almost all of his blue Tiberum field, where PoKeMoM still has about half left, maybe 3/4 of the blue tip left. Plus, he only has 1 refinery, so he's a little bit behind in the economy race, which is pushing Shock Treatment to go for some Scorpion tanks. He only has one war factory, though. No, 2 war factories, I should say. Just placed on that one. He also has an operations center, so he wants to go for that tech lab. And he also has a crane, though, so it's going to be a base creep to this green Tiberum field here. And that Venom's still there by PoKeMoM. PoKeMoM's going to lose it, but that Venom did a lot of damage. and he did manage to capture both those defensive structures. So he didn't capture the control center. I could have sworn that all three of those engineers were going to capture that control center, but he went for that spike instead. The buggy force is coming into the base of shock treatment, doing a little bit of harvester harassment. The buggies are taking care of the infantry, while the bikes will see if they can do a little bit damage to those harvesters. But shock treatment is reinforcing his harvesters with scorpion tanks and bikes of his own, so that push those Pokemon's forces back to the north there. Now Pokemon's bringing in his second contingent of force with just attack bikes and rocket squads. But now he packed up his MCV and is going to be moving to the green Tiberum field here, which shock treatment has already base creeped. He's powered down his operations center for some strange reason. Looks like he wants to maybe a little bit more power. Yep, he has a tech lab, so he powered down his operations center just to get that little bit of power. And now he's powering up his power plants with the tip core, or liquid tip core, I should say. And he's upgrading something from his tech lab. It could be dozer blades, either that or laser capacitors, but I think it's going to be dozer blades first because that's the one upgrade you definitely want to need. And double refiner here from PoKeMoM. He placed it way too close together, but then again, same thing with refinery though. And the harvester being under attack now. PoKeMoM is bringing in his bikes, and they're doing a ton of damage to PoKeMoM's harvesters. They could have taken out maybe 2 or 3 harvesters. I wasn't really paying attention, but another bike attack here from PoKeMoM. Looks like he wants to keep up the harvester harassment while he gets his refineries in order. But this is, like I said, this is like a prime attack for a catalyst missile from both these players. Actually, both these players have close enough that they can fire a catalyst missile on both those refineries and just destroy them. The scorpion tanks are coming in now from shock treatment. They do have dozer blades, so they have a little bit more armor. But PoKeMoM is bringing in a couple of scorpion tanks now. The harvesters are going to be under attack if they don't get back into stealth, but that was a good focus fire there by shock treatment, focusing on one harvester at least. But now there's a scorpion tank going to be absolutely destroyed. He could take out one more harvester if he's lucky, and he is lucky. He'll take out that one harvester, but he's going to lose his entire scorpion army, and also put him a little bit behind. But also, he does have double ore factory, and his own harvesters are being under attack now by PoKeMoM's bikes, and one harvester will go down, another harvester will go down. If he's lucky, he might get a third harvester. One more volley from that rocket, and they will take out 3 harvesters. 3 harvesters are down by shock treatment, so that's not going to be very good. PoKeMoM's harassment towards shock treatment is very, very huge. Laser capacitors is done for shock treatment, so that's going to be pretty big for him. But more harvesters are being destroyed now by PoKeMoM, and PoKeMoM is just focus firing all these harvesters, and shock treatment is in a lot of trouble. He lost, holy cow, like 6 or 7 harvesters, make it 8 if this one goes down, and this is massive loss for shock treatment. I think he lost all of his harvesters, I'm not too sure, but now PoKeMoM is going to be in trouble of his own by he lost a couple of his refiners for some strange reason. Maybe he thought that he could sell them off, or maybe he lost to a catalyst missile, I'm not too sure. But now shock treatment is counterattacking PoKeMoM's base with laser capacitor scorpion tanks, and now PoKeMoM is in trouble of his own. And now the catalyst missile goes down. Looks like he wanted to sell it off, but all the refineries are being destroyed on this field here, so no more Tiberum there for PoKeMoM. And PoKeMoM's pushing back this scorpion force here just a little bit. Now he's pushing back all the way. Now more selling off in the base, so both players are screwing each other over. Both losing harvesters and refineries to massive amounts of tax. So now shock treatment, how many harvesters he's down to? He's got 1 harvester left, and PoKeMoM has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 harvesters left. So shock treatment is in a little bit worse trouble there than PoKeMoM. But PoKeMoM has no forces on them. Has a little is a little bit of infantry spam. So I shouldn't say has any force on the map, but at any rate, a bunch of crushing or shorter turns can just clean up this forest easily. So PoKeMoM, he needs to get more refineries down on this green field, but shock treatment needs to have a lot more refineries. But at the same time, he's just getting harassed by these bikes though, man. And like, these bikes are just causing so much problems for shock treatment. Losing bikes, losing harvesters to just bikes, and another harvester will go down. So shock treatment, Jesus Christ, buddy. Lots of bad things are happening for shock treatment, so he's going to have to get more fighters. He's going to have to protect them as best he possibly can. He needs to get a couple more harvesters on this blue field to get a lot more economy going. Because the more blue Tiberum that shock treatment has, the better off he is. But PoKeMoM, now he's just getting his footing now on his expansion, getting more green Tiberum field. Placed on the war factory in a very peculiar position, a little bit up to the side there, so that's not going to be the most strategic spot for a war factory. But then again, it's PoKeMoM is a hell of a lot better of a Tiberum player than I am, so that's what he's going to do. back in the time now. We see Shock Treatment is going to be expanding with his MCV back up to the green field here, and he needs to be careful that Pokemon's infantry force doesn't get tangled up with the MCV. Pokemon's getting back to... He's going to be splitting up his forces. He has a contingent of rockets and militants with Scorpion tanks to the east here, and he could definitely take out that refinery if he's lucky. If he wanted to, just to deny Shock Treatment to go get the blue Tiberum field. But now this single shorter term is going to push back this infantry ball, and Pokemon's finally getting back to the green Tiberum field in the expansion. He has going to be getting down 2 war factories and go for some Scorpion tank production. And Scorpion tanks is going to be pretty good. I haven't seen Pokemon place down a single tech structure at all this entire game, so he's just focusing on tier 1, and that's going to be... He's doing pretty good with it. Meanwhile, Shock Treatment has catalysted PoKeMoM with his Catalyst Mile and did a ton of damage. So tier 3, it's not working out for Shock Treatment. He needs to have something to deal with this. He does have a refinery with a couple of harvesters on this field right here, so he is getting a little bit of economy. And he needs something to protect his refineries on this blue field here, because the blue field is giving Shock Treatment a lot of money. And just more Scorpion tanks to be building up by Pokemon. Pokemon's going to do another Pokemon Prod here. He does see that there's some harvesters in this field, and more refineries have been placed down by Shock Treatment, so he needs some stealth protection, and bikes is going to be another good answer. He sold off both the war factories at his main base, and his expansion is building up more bikes and Scorpion tanks. So yeah, tier 1 for Pokemon this entire game is triple war factory now. So triple war factory, it's been in the cards, and he sold his MCV. Okay, so Pokemon is going to be selling his MCV and going into straight triple war factory production, bikes and Scorpion tanks. This is going to be very huge. Not sure how well this is going to work out, but Shock Treatment he has to be aware of this. He's going to have to figure it out. And selling war factory might be a good idea because he's a little halfway through his tip field, so he's going to have to go through a bunch of forces to make this possible. And I'm not sure if he has a barracks. I think it's just going to be triple war factory production, and half the bikes are going to go to the east here to see if he can go get some more harvester harassment. And Shock Treatment knows it immediately. He's going to have to pull some of his forces back to deal with these bikes to make sure the harvesters can destroy them at the same time. The Scorpion tanks are going to be coming in now. They're going to be focusing on the harvesters that will be docked to that refinery there. But the harvesters are slowly going down now. Buggies are coming in to deal with the infantry. The Scorpion tanks are focusing on the starter turns. Need to be focusing on the refineries, though. Hand of Nod's coming in now. Those bikes are going back to the north. Those Illusion Corps are going to be tracing them. And we see the Scorpion tanks are going to be pushed back now to the base. And we see a bunch of rocket squads now from Pokemon. So Pokemon does have it in barracks here somewhere. Or maybe he doesn't. I don't see it anywhere on the map. Because like that's just a force there. He just got saved up immediately. So now Shock Treatment is going to be going through 5 Scorpion tanks to the north here. See if we can focus on a couple of structures, because the more structures the less structures he has for Pokemon, the better it is for Shock Treatment. And I'm not sure if capturing these different structures was a good idea. He did lose one of them, so maybe it was good, maybe it wasn't. So now refineries are going to be under attack now, and Pokemon's bringing in a couple of his bikes and buggies just to deal with these Scorpion tanks. But at the same time, Pokemon is bringing in his Scorpion tanks of his own against laser dozer bladed Scorps. So he is focusing their harvesters, and the harvesters will go down. But the problem is that Shock Treatment, he can easily repair that, get that back to well, if he focuses down the infantry and the Scorpion tanks from Shock Treatment, it'll be a while there before he can get a lot of force in there. And Shock Treatment is out of position, and he loses all the Scorpion tanks to unupgraded Scorps to Pokemon. And Pokemon is just pushing in pretty heavily and is destroying a lot of harvesters. So that's going to be very good. And more harvesters going down now by Shock Treatment. And Shock Treatment losing harvesters and Scorpion tanks. These ROTW Scorpion tanks are not doing anything towards this infantry ball and unupgraded Scorpion tanks from Pokemon. And Pokemon is just going to be focusing, selling off a bunch of those refineries. So getting up as many economy as possible just to destroy this infantry and unupgraded Scorps. And just destroying a bunch of stuff there. Now the War Factory is under attack now. And I think if Shock Treatment loses this War Factory, it could be GG. He does have a single War Factory in the back side of things, so he could probably save this, and I think he will. But he's losing Scorpion tanks still. He needs something else to deal with his infantry squad. Not sure why he's not building any defense shorter turns. Maybe he doesn't have any. Maybe he doesn't have the economy to do so. He did lose that War Factory, and now more Scorpion tanks are going to be reinforcing the force here. Actually, he's not really more Scorpion force to speak of. But this triple War Factory was a great idea from Pokemon, selling off that force. selling off that MCV immediately just to get that huge Scorpion tank for us, and Shocktapus has been defeated. So that was a pretty good game, honestly. I mean, I like that game. So let's skip all this and go to the units graph. So Pokemon, for the most part, had the units the entire game. Structures, it was all actually it was up and down pretty much. Resources, it was all Pokemon for almost the entire game. It was pretty even for the first 5.5 or 6 minutes. So then Pokemon started to pull away with the resources. 106,419 to Shock Raymond and 135,744 to Pokemon. So Pokemon had $29,000 more than Shocktapus there. All right, so there's your game on what the hell was I at? Pipeline Problems. And my name's Cabal, and I'll see you guys next time.